should kick off with The Believer, episode 7, The Mandalorian.
Because that's all we wanted was a Mandalorian episode, and we ended up with
we've simultaneously got
news.
a lot to talk about, and we're very hyped for all of it.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, what's your thoughts, man?
Really strong episode. One of my favourites of the season, actually. Really liked it. I think Bill Burr's character coming back as well, just like...
Bill Burr and Rick Famuyiwa, that's a combo in Star Wars that has proven twice now.
Yes, exactly. I can't get enough of his character, and I'm so glad that nothing happened to him again so that we can see him hopefully pop up in the future.
Yes. Before we get too much into it, I did also think there was going to be a kamikaze run, and I was worried.
Yes, so did I.
So I think it's proven that he's a character that can just keep expanding.
Yep. And so, for some reason, weirdly fits perfectly into Star Wars.
Bill Burr?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I think he's got that kind of like gritty... He's not like a handsome leading man angle, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Particularly for like the scum and villainy of the Star Wars universe.
Definitely.
Fantastic. Also, we need more gingers in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Terry will be happy about that.
Yeah, exactly.
So for this episode, we kind of leaped right off the back of the last episode where Grogu got taken by the Empire and Boba Fett has honoured the deal. And Mando and him they picked up Bill Burr, haven't they? Mm-hmm. With the help of Cara Dune. And it's kind of like a Bill Burr, I should say Mayfield instead of Bill Burr, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
It's more like a Mayfield Mando buddy cop heist, isn't it? There's a great action sequence at the start where they're trying to get the essentially coaxium from Solo, a Star Wars story, but it's called something different here, isn't it? But it does the exact same thing for narrative purpose. How did you feel about the Solo parallels? Because there was a heist at the start. Yeah. They're on a moving vehicle.
Even the aesthetics of it looked like from Solo.
Well, it's the same Imperial armor that they're wearing, isn't it? That he wears in Solo when him and Woody Harrelson are on that battlefield, aren't they? Yeah. So I feel like the parallels were probably intentional,
especially with the pirates coming in on those ships that are very similar to the ones that we see in Solo.
And it's beat for beat, isn't it? Like, you know, when Emphas Nest comes in, who we'll get back to when we talk about Falcon Winter Soldier.
We will.
I loved all of that, and I loved that the end of that rather epic action sequence sort of reframed the TIE fighters and the stormtroopers as like the hero moment. Like they saved them, and like suddenly you just see like they're all just like brothers in arms that, you know, are following orders from higher up, aren't they? They're just happy that they're alive. And then that of course directly plays into the very next scene, which I think was so awesome.
I mean, Star Wars Inglourious Bastards, like,
it's
fantastic.
Yes, and I also felt whilst I was watching Bill Burr get progressively madder at Richard Brake's Imperial Officer, I did also think of Christoph Waltz just going to Mando. I couldn't resist.
Yeah, it is very much like that, isn't it?
Because you can just see on his face, can't you? So basically, they go to get that scanner, don't they? Mm-hmm. Mando has to take off his helmet, which is also set up really well in the initial drive, isn't it? When Bill Burr says that line about, you know, is it about not taking off your helmet or is it about covering your face? Because they're two different things.
That whole bit I thought was fantastic. Like, because our problem with, you know, the third episode since is like, I like that we had that reveal of him being, you know, part of this kind of weird cult kind of thing.
Watcher, like nutters.
We never see him reflect on that or think about that. And I think that moment with Will Burr in the car is a little bit more of calling that out. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, yeah.
Of just being like...
And I just love how Mayfield's character kind of gets under the skin of everyone, but he says cutting things that are true. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
and like he doesn't hold back his opinions with anyone. And then
like
that kind of comes...
He calls himself a realist, doesn't he?
Yes, and it kind of comes to a head, doesn't it, when he's talking to Richard Brake, who is a fantastic character actor. We were going through some of his credits, weren't we? Because it was one of those actors where you're like, I've seen them in everything.
Yes, exactly.
And I think he was Joe Chill, wasn't he? And the Night King.
Yep. He's one of the chemists in the Mandy.
Oh, yes, yeah. He's got such an awesome face.
He has. He's just got one of those perfect, like, movie faces. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where he's... In a weird way, I feel bad for him because he's got one of those faces that, like, he's meant to play the villain.
Yes, I was going to say, I do think Disney have done a tremendous job of casting people as Imperials that you're like, they always should have been an Imperial officer. Like, you know the guy in Last Jedi, Captain Kennedy? The old guy that, like, he ends up getting blown up, doesn't he? And he's in, like, a submarine deck. I'm like, that actor is perfect for an Imperial.
He is, yep, it's true. Going back to what you said earlier about the, you know, having this different perspective of seeing... you know, the glory through the stormtroopers is pretty much what I wanted from the show from the get-go in terms of, like, having these different perspectives in the Star Wars universe that we couldn't necessarily delve into in the movie world because, you know, we ain't got enough time to, and we want to tell this certain story. I like, we now have the time to sort of open the world up and see from different perspectives like that. And I think that's what I thought kept this episode really strong.
Well, I think it was Favreau that said he wanted to delve into the lives of what, the movies kind of collectively call like the scum and villainy. Like, who are those people that are in Mos Eisley doing these dirty deals? And I think the Bill Burr character has really kind of doubled down on the promise of that premise, because we 100%. Saw he was a piece of shit, didn't we, in The Prisoner. Led to, is it Davin's death? The Republic officer.
Oh, yes.
The only reason I know that name so well is because they repeat it, I think, twice in this season. And also, I had to keep Googling it for the Mando essay I did a few weeks back on that episode. And that's all just it's paid off so well, because now we've seen a new side to him where it's like, no, like, he's not necessarily a bastard. He can be a bastard, but it's obviously, it's been instigated by years of trauma under the Empire, working for them, like, and being forced to kill people and lose brothers in arms and stuff. Like when he talks about, was it Burning Kampf?
Burning Kampf, yeah.
And the way the guy's like, yeah, well, that Rhydonium you delivered, we're going to do 1 million more of those. And suddenly he sees that, he's just doing this kind of selfless task for Mando to help him get the kid back. I mean, of course, he's going to get some time for his prison sentence or whatever. But, essentially he's doing a good thing. And it's like to knock it back at him and be like, well, no, all those nightmares you've had about all those people that died, we're going to do more of that.
Yep.
That's
fantastic.
That pays off when he shoots the Rhydonium.
So good.
And like to see that character who you despised in the last season get like such a hero moment that you feel is so earned within the space of 39 minutes is fantastic storytelling.
Fantastic.
And I think this episode almost, it was a win that it was so short. Whereas I feel like some of the other episodes this season, it's kind of been a bit like, half an hour.
Yeah. But it's because it packs in so much. Yeah. And also, like, I just love that. I think the show, when it's at its best, is like we said, when it's giving us those different perspectives in the Star Wars world. And I think, in a weird way, the stuff that we didn't realise we wanted, it seems to be like the when it's at its strongest. Do you know what I'm saying? Like when we get given stuff that we're like, oh, I didn't know I wanted to see Boba Fett and the fucking what are they called, seismic charges.
Oh, from Attack of the Clones,
blowing up TIE fighters. You know what I mean? Like,
very cool. Yeah,
like, I didn't know I wanted to see that, and I think sometimes with the show, there's been things that we wanted to see from the show, and it hasn't quite delivered on that front. So I'm finding a weird balance with the show because of that.
I think it's less like,
if that makes sense,
we didn't get what we wanted, and more like it's becoming clear as the season's coming to a close what Favreau and Filoni wanted to focus on, and now it's becoming clear to me that it's about Boba and Mando kind of coming together, him losing the child, like seeing that new perspective of the characters we thought were villains, because like Boba Fett has always classically been a villain, and now we're seeing a more honourable side to him. It's the same with Bill Burr, and obviously Cara Dune is kind of realigning with the New Republic. It's very awesome.
No, it's very cool.
And it feels like a direct continuation of the last episode.
Yep.
But also, you're getting best of both worlds, because you're getting a completely different planet, completely different story. Bill Burr's the one-off, so you're still getting that thing that people were saying with like, oh, well, the reason why it's not really had an arc is because it's episode of the week, it's monster of the week type thing. But this proves to me that last episode and this episode are what you really want from that.
Exactly, I agree.
Two completely different episodes, but you have to watch them in order.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just true. It's like when they go for that, and they really go for that, it's when it's at its best. But then sometimes it can also be what lets it down, isn't it? Sometimes where it becomes that, like, monster of the week thing, but nothing really feels like it's been learned, or we haven't developed in character. Whereas this is like, there's non-stop tension throughout.
Yep.
There's non-stop action throughout.
Everything's told through the action story.
Yep. And you're getting great character moments with Mando and Mayfield. Like,
I love that he took off his mask, and then the longest time we've seen him without his mask now so far is this scene, and he barely says a word. Yeah. He sat there in between Bill Burr and Richard Brake, and they're owning the whole scene, and he feels so vulnerable without his helmet.
Yes.
And I think as well, when you hear him speak without that kind of robotic reverberation, it's strange as well. It's like, it's almost like it's not just to hide his face, is it? It's like to protect his self.
Yes.
And I feel like we're slowly peeling away who this man is. I really want them to pick up that thread about who the Watch are, and they no doubt will. I maybe don't think they'll do it this season now. I think it's going to be, the rest of it's going to be about how to get the child back.
Yes, definitely. Because I feel, as well, I 100% agree with that. Like, taking that mask off, because it kind of reminds you who's underneath it. It reminds you that, it's not this all-encompassing sort of superhero. Do you know what I mean? It's just a normal simple guy trying to make his way in the universe.
He's a warrior usually, but here it's like he's a father, isn't it?
Yeah, with all the kit. He's just got all the kit, and here he's in this moment. He's incredibly vulnerable. You know, even though with Mando we've seen kick ass throughout the whole season and get himself out of any scenario, all of a sudden now he's got his mask off. He looks vulnerable. Oh wait, yeah, we're reminded he's not. You know, he's just not human, but you know what I mean. Like
he
in
needs
this world.
Bill Burr to save him, and if Bill Burr hadn't have been there, he wouldn't have succeeded, would he?
No.
He'd have completely fucked it up.
Yeah.
And it's great to see those characters come a bit close together. I think we're going to see more of Bill Burr.
I hope so too.